What's up, everybody? Rache back again to take a look at another beer. Thanks for swinging by to check out another video. Tonight, I'm going to actually take a look at one from Smuttynose. This is their Zinneke or Zinneke. It is a Belgian-style stout. One I happened to just pick up on one of my beer runs. Happened to see it there. Had not had it before. And the label kind of caught my eye with the guy there and his dog, and decided to go ahead and grab it. Smuttynose is out of New Hampshire or New Hampshire, depending where you're from. And they actually make some pretty decent beers. A lot of our beer festivals, we usually get them down here as well. So I like checking out to see what they have to offer. Of course, like in Belgian ales and like in stouts, this is a hybrid, so it kind of played to two of my favorite styles there. Now, one thing I will say about this bottle that I didn't like about it is that it really didn't, on the front or on the back, really hit on what the ABV was on here. Like, all labels should have the ABV. IBU, they can have it on there, but it's not as important. And of course, dates, but it doesn't have that on here. This one is actually no longer in production though. So I found that out doing some other research. So we'll see how this actually comes out. The ABV on this one is actually at 8.7%. So a stout that you could sell for a period. Hopefully everything holds well. On the label, it talks about named in honor of the doggy denizens of Brussels. This hybrid beer is a mix of what we love best in a big roasty stout, but fermented with a Belgian yeast, which brings out a beautiful fruity nose. Cheers. And outside of that, they don't really give you much more details. So let's go ahead and check it out and see what this has to offer and go from there. So you can see there the dark color that we get out of it. They describe it as a dark ebony brown on their website. I would definitely say it's a dark brown along those lines. Pretty much almost jet black. Came out with a finger of head. Would have probably liked to get maybe a little bit more out of that, but that's okay. As far as the aroma, you do get some of those notes that similar to what you would get on a Belgian ale. You do get some of that fruitiness in there. I am picking up a little bit of that coriander in the background. It's got a little bit of that sweetness. The yeast is coming out. Like with many Belgian ales, you get a little bit of a yeastiness in there. But then playing to the stout, I'm also getting some of that chocolate. I'm getting a little bit of a vanilla in there as well. And I'm also picking up some of the coffee type aromas you would usually associate with some of the stouts. A very sweet smelling beer as far as the taste. Wow. Now I think this is actually the 2014 vintage. That is the last one that I saw out there. But it's got a nice smoothness to it. Real velvety. Now I let this beer sit out for about half an hour before actually drinking it because I wanted to get up to nice room temperature, or just short of, and it really brings out the flavors. It brings out the taste. I can actually pick up a lot of those notes of the chocolate, of the coffee that you usually get on a stout. It's got a nice vanilla presence in the taste as well. It's got a nice mouthfeel to it. Really coats the mouth very nicely. It's off the tongue. It's kind of into the cheek area. As far as getting around, it does that very well. And there's not much of a throat scraping as it goes down on the back end. Real silky smooth. Lays on the tongue nicely. It does have that wetness factor in it, so it's not something that's going to be very dry. But I'm digging the flavors as they actually go down. Almost like a caramel type feel in there as well. As far as taking a look at their website, some of the details you can find here as well. I'm going to pull that up here. Now, I already pulled it up and had it keyed in here. But this is the Zinneke. And you can see right here, it is a Belgian-style stout. And they provide some of the details, what I read off of there. Also goes into a little bit more details here, which if you want to pause the video, you can do that. So you can actually read some of this information. Down here, it gives a little bit of the bill about the beer, 8.7 ABV, as I mentioned, 46 IBU. So you do have more of that malt up front. As far as the malt bill, you look at all the different malts they put into this one. You're looking at the North American two-row, the Caraway, the Munich, C120, chocolate, roasted barley, brown malt. So you're getting all that good stuff going together. And they actually broke it down with Magnum for the bitter and hops, and then Glacier for the flavor. So I haven't used either of those hops in what I've actually brewed before, but may have to check those out to get some more details about them. And they also drop in some of that dark Belgian candy syrup. So pretty nice little combination of things they put together here to bring it all together. You do get a little bit of that toffiness that makes reference to there as well. And that's what I usually associate with some of the caramel also. Those chocolate flavors I mentioned, yeah, you get those, like it says, subtle in the finish. So a very overall decent beer. If you ever had Smuttynose, you're probably pretty familiar with them. If you haven't had Smuttynose, I would definitely say check them out. They do a pretty good job on their beers. And if you want something you can just kind of kick back and relax with, this one can definitely do that. It is more of a full body beer. I do pick up some of the booziness as well, so you will taste some of the alcohol in there. But with a stout like this, I almost kind of expected to have a little bit of that coming through. If that would have been a little bit more hidden, I probably would have held it a little bit higher and how I would actually rate it in my own personal way. But for me, definitely a very good beer. And this is something I would put probably to 4 out of 5. So there you have it. If you've had it before, let me know. Put some comments in the comment section. Let me know what you think about it. But this is Zinneke from Smuttynose, a decent beer to definitely try. That all being said, I appreciate you swinging by. I look forward to catching you next time. Keep drinking those good craft beers. And, of course, cheers.